Today I thought we'd combine two of my favorite types of videos to watch in the luxury community. The first being that of an unboxing, the second being a collection video. And this is basically inspired by my recent shoe purchase from an iconic brand, and that is of course Christian Louboutin. And I realized as soon as I bought it, admired it, and imagined where in my shoe rack that it would fit, I realised I actually have quite a few Louboutin shoes, which is quite surprising given that Louboutin, while well known for its iconic red bottom shoes, it's not exactly known for being comfortable, and it's definitely not a collection that I've intended to grow, but it just so happens that there's been quite a few sales as of late, this being one of such purchases, so I wanted to share the collection with you all for a bit of eye candy, and also share a few tips, tricks and advice around how to buy Louboutins, how I found them, sizing, fit, all of that good stuff. Hopefully will be very useful for those of you out there who've always wanted a pair of Louboutin shoes, or you're just really curious about the world's most uncomfortable brand of shoe. Before I do that, it's probably worth me explaining my rationale for why I am investing in these shoes. And I use the word investing intentionally because they are a pretty penny. But for me, I've always found, first and foremost, the Louboutin to be an iconic style of shoe. I mean, who doesn't know the red bottom sole? There's just something about a deep red sole that is just so sexy, elegant. It's just such a powerful shoe. And when you walk away, especially the silhouette that it creates with the red bottom against a stiletto heel, it is just chef's kiss. You just feel like you're ready to take on the world. And I know for many, these ideas will be largely influenced by culture, by celebrity, by influencers. But for me personally, I've always loved the color red. Growing up, it was my favorite color. Who remembers favorite colors? I genuinely love the color red also for cultural reasons. With my Chinese heritage, red is a very prosperous, very fortuitous and lucky color. So having it involved in a shoe, it combines the East and West elements for me. And I just think it's such a unique defining characteristic of a shoe brand that you rarely get. Who can just think of a color and be associated to a specific brand? And aside from the fascination with the brand, I've also been super interested in the man himself. I've watched many documentaries recounting his life. There was one on Channel 4, I believe, that talks through his early life as an adopted child, towards his journey being a designer, through to, I think he went to Bhutan to create limited edition selection of shoes. And I really respect his hustle, but also his humor. That is just my rationale. I know that Louboutins go through phases of being classy versus chabby. Who remembers the bandage dress era and the daffodil Louboutins? But I think somewhere in the middle with, you know, classic shoes or ones that I know that I will get the use out of, they're great investment pieces for me. Not necessarily in the sense of getting your money back, but as in I will wear these for years and years to come. So that is the end of my preamble, and I thought it was important to include, even if it is long, because I think some people will be like, well, why are you getting Louboutins? They're cheap, they're tacky, they're this, they're that. I don't really care what other people think. I buy things for my own enjoyment. But let's open this particular pair up. So up top, we have the dust bags. These have changed since the old style dust bags, and I believe you also get replacement heel tips as well, which are in this particularly small bag. So let's just open her up to reveal these gorgeous iridescent sling bag pumps. Now I believe these are called the Hot Chick Sling, and they are in the 70mm heel. Like I mentioned from earlier, I got these in the Louboutin sale. It was a private sale that was held at Harrods, but outside of private sales, they then go on to public sale. Sometimes they have funny things at the sale, as you probably can imagine, but I love the look of these. I love the iridescent color, super special, means it will go with a lot of different colors, especially for summer. These fit perfectly as well. Some slingbacks fall off, which I find so annoying. And they are of a very good walkable heel height. Yes, that's right, walkable in the Louboutins. Those are in the same sentence because these are actually comfortable, as comfortable as a heel would be, because let's be honest, regardless of any brand that you go for, it's not going to be like wearing a Yeezy or a Vivo Barefoot, if you know what I mean. And I love a good pointed toe. I think it is super elegant, elongates your foot. And what is the cherry on top is the fact that I managed to get these for, I think, 40% off retail price. So I think I got these for about £460. They were originally £700 or £800. Just while talking about new purchases, and I will just leave the shoes here, I actually got my boyfriend also a pair of Louboutins. This is like a bonus unboxing. This pair is also another sale find. And we've just revealed the first of the pair, and this is the Grego. This is actually a denim, leather and suede construction, which I think looks so cool. I love the mixture of textures. This perfect middle ground of smart shoe that you could wear for work, but also casual, or maybe even for evening moments as well. In fact, he was the one, funnily enough, that was just on a website one day, and he was looking at Louboutins because he also liked the look. You know, he's slowly dipping his toes in the luxury waters, if you will. So he actually started to appreciate the craftsmanship is not just about the flex, okay? So he found these shoes on his own, full price, might I add. Lo and behold, when I get the news that there's a private sale, what shoes do I see that are on sale? But these. Every single man in the world probably has a black pair of shoes. There's not much going on in terms of versatility or variety. So the different textures, I think, add something a little bit special without being too flamboyant or gaudy. But obviously, I cannot deny that the red sole is super cool. I think his actually, funnily enough, was more expensive than mine. It was £495, but they were originally like £800 or £900 retail. So definitely worth checking out Louboutin, not just for the ladies, but for the gentlemen. I believe they also have other divisions like kids and even dogs, so pet accessories. Certainly they have something for everybody. But let's actually move on to talking through the rest of my Louboutin collection. And the first pair that I ever got in my collection is perhaps one of the most iconic to the fashion house, and that is this pair of Pigalle in 85mm. No bells and whistles apart from obviously the red bottom, and you'll see as we go through each pair how much I've worn them. I don't intend to buy anything that is just gonna sit on a shelf because life is too short for that. So these have definitely been worn and loved, but because they are patent leather, it's really easy to maintain. I absolutely love the classic nature of them. I did want something that was iconic in not just style, but also something that would endure over the many years, something I could see myself wearing till basically I'm an old granny. I think I could still rock this heel height. And I know Louboutins aren't exactly known for their practicality or for their customers to be ones looking for modesty, but that's something that I thought, at least in terms of forward thinking, would do me the best, especially because at the time they were still expensive, not as expensive I suppose as now with some price increases, but they're around £400, £425. They come in several heel heights. I went for the 85 because they are the most walkable. Usually I wear these for evening events as well when I just want to have something that's nice, little pop of color in the back, but also I can walk in it. It's not just going to be a car to dinner to back again kind of shoe. Whereas in comparison, the next pair of shoes is not so practical. This is my only pair of, I guess, plastic shoes. Who remembers the Jean Vita Rossi plexi pumps? This is basically the same kind of concept. And this is my second pair of Louboutins in a much higher heel height. I believe these are the 100mm, probably my highest stilettos in my collection thus far. And this was a sale purchase, also I believe from Harrods. I think everything has come from Harrods. This was something that I thought would be a little bit fun. It's monochrome, so it will go with a lot, but I thought, oh, it's exciting because there's a bit of like the plexi heel things. I never got into the Jean Vita Rossis, but I wanted to have a slice of the action back then. And I like there was this interesting print and it was super inexpensive. I think it must have been like £300 or something. Obviously, it's got a skinny, minuscule heel. Though at the time, I would say I got a lot of use out of it because if you see the sole, it has seam somewhere. It looks great for evening occasions, but I would say over time, I feel like my foot has gotten maybe wider, or it's just because I wear a lot of sports shoes and Vivo barefoots that the foot has expanded or just gone to its natural size. So I got a 37.5, that's my usual size. Nowadays I'm more of a 38. I guess my foot has just expanded over time or grown, right? So what can you do about that? Next up, for my third pair, we have a more practical heel height, because your girl learned her lesson, because this is a pair of mock croc style boots. And these again have a pointed toe. You'll see the theme. We love a pointed toe. But I also love that they are, despite being a black basic perhaps style of shoe, being an ankle bootie, that the mock croc gives it something a little bit interesting. And the zip up sides are a godsend for easy access. I also love that the heel is a lot wider. You see, we're learning our lesson here, people. And I believe these must be in the 75 or 80 millimeter heel, so maybe just a little bit taller than the Hot Chick sling. And I liked the boots so much that for my next pair I got, you guessed it, another pair of boots. Now these ones are obviously quite different. They are white with this kind of off-white beigey colour. They have actually been quite ruined because I wore these so much, because I had such great luck with the other black boots. I thought, why not add something that's a little bit different that could be worn for spring and summer, because black is hard to style in those months. And this is to me a bougie cowboy boot. And even though this is one that you kind of slip in like a bit of a sock boot, it is not restricting at all, and I've never had any difficulties. We also have these cute little accents here of the stitching, which gives you kind of that Western vibe too. The heel height is, again, walkable in Louboutin terms, or in general heel terms, because this is around 80 millimeters, and we have a thicker block heel too for extra stability. I actually bought this plus the next pair that I'm going to show you in the same sitting. And now moving on to our next pair, and I guess the final one, we have these really cute floral block heels, and the flowers are pretty much what is drawing all the attention of this pair of shoes. You just have a big block heel at the back here. This is looking a little bit higher. I think maybe this is 85 millimeters. And we have an ankle fastening, which is great for extra stability. I just love that it's a little bit of something special. I don't have silver shoes in my collection aside from this one. Don't have any flower appliques on my other shoes either, and I just thought for another sale purchase of something that was what, like £300, £350, how can you go wrong? So now that we have done the unboxing and I've shown you the collection, chances are for some of you, you might want to start getting a pair of Louboutins. And so I wanted to end this video with some of those tips and tricks on where to buy, how to buy, etc. So in terms of where to buy, obviously you have two predominant options. So the first is that of in-store, so it could be either at their flagship boutiques or ones that are integrated in other stores like a Harrods or Selfridges. Alternatively, you could even go to outlet malls as well. They have in Bicester Village, for example, a very popular Christian Louboutin store, but obviously that's a little bit more seasonal. Outside of in-store options, of course, you can go online. I don't believe you can at this stage buy direct from Christian Louboutin, but you can obviously buy from more third-party sellers such as your Net-a-Porter, Louis Vuitton, etc. But I would advise, if you can, go in-store and try them on, because whether you are new to the brand or not, the sizing will differ. The materials differ, especially given that any damage to the red sole, if you try anything on at home, won't be able to be refunded or exchanged. Now let's move on to some of the tricks around what to look for, how to buy them. So the first area that is worth covering up front is something that everybody talks about, is sizing. Now obviously this is going to differ depending on the type of shoe, the heel height, etc. But generally the rule is the higher the heel height you're going for, the more uncomfortable they're going to be, least of all for Louboutin. So bearing that in mind, obviously if you want a comfortable heel, you want to go for a lower one or a thicker heel itself. And heel heights are relevant to the sizing point, because I've personally found when trying on Louboutins that the higher the heel, the bigger the size that I need, because it just gives me more space in the toe box region. Otherwise my feet are totally squished, and to be honest, that's what's happened with these plexi pumps here. It's just shoving so much pressure, downwards pressure into my toe box that not only does it kind of indent the shoe a little bit with toe marks, your little toe is going to be totally obliterated. And I'd like to keep all toes on my feet. This may vary depending on who you ask and the shape of your foot as well. Like I also have a wider foot, so I find a bit more space is also great. As somebody who is often in between sizes, so I'm usually a UK 4.5 to 5 or 37.5 to 38 European, it's always better to size up. It's like getting an insurance policy because you can always put an insole in and pad out your shoe. You can't get something taken out to be bigger. So just shop smart, because if you want Louboutins and you want to wear them for the look, you want to make sure that you're actually going to wear them more than just once for photos, because otherwise that is a true waste of money. Let's talk about prices, the elusive prices that no one likes to talk about in the luxury community, but I think is super important because nowadays we are in silly money territory, okay? So Louboutin doesn't have as aggressive a price increase strategy as the likes of Chanel and Hermes, thankfully. The only real price differentials, I believe, from my first pair of Louboutins 7-8 years ago to now has been £100, I believe. But obviously it's still significant, especially with inflation and things like that. So I'd always advise if you want something like a Louboutin shoe, then you probably want to get it as early as possible, but making sure that you buy once and you buy right. And I personally find, at least with the Louboutins that are outside of the classics, like the Pigalle, the Saucates, they generally go on sale. At this moment in time, I believe the classics will start from around 450 or maybe £500. They can go up to the thousands. There are some crazy embellished exotic skin shoes that you can get your hands on, but I personally think anything over £1,000 is just ridiculous money to be spending on footwear. Any sale or rewards or promotions that you can get for Louboutins or any type of shoe really in the designer realm is always welcome. And I personally buy a lot of my designer footwear from Harrods. If I can get all the loyalty in one, that's great. And often brands like Louboutin will participate in 10% off rewards as well. Now let's move on to wear and tear, because this is something that I think a lot of people get concerned about, especially with the red sole. Now, full disclosure here in terms of the frequency that I'm wearing my Louboutins, while they do see a good amount of wear, I'm not wearing them every day. I'm not wearing them out to work. I'm not wearing them out to go to the supermarket. You know, there is a time and a place, and usually that's evening events or social occasions, because it's just not worth getting the comments, just not worth maybe even being uncomfortable. That being said, I do enjoy and wear and love all of my belongings. I believe it is part of the charm to see the wear and tear on the red sole. Honestly, it was something that took me a little while to get around to. I, like many others who were new to Louboutins, were absolutely heartbroken when the first scratch emerged, but it's part and parcel of owning them. And actually I learned from even attempting to take my shoes in for resoling, because it's something that you can do, it's something that Louboutin offers, to resole your shoes with red rubber so that they are long lasting. They actually looked at all of my barely used Louboutins and said, why on earth would you want to ruin them? It is literally the last resort from where your sole is so worn down to a nub that they need to resole it. But not only that, it tells a story. It's part and parcel of actually owning your Louboutins. When the time comes, you can get them resold fairly inexpensively at a cobbler compared to Louboutin. I actually don't know what it costs because I haven't had to do it just yet, but I know cobblers like your Timpsons in the UK or any other equivalent near where you are will do the red soles for you. But I would say in terms of the rest of my shoes, it varies depending on the material. If they are a soft lambskin like my white boots, then yes, you will see some wear and tear, especially when they get caught on the heel here. As long as you have that kind of stoic mindset of whatever happens, happens, you will be okay. And life is for living, shoes are for wearing. So in conclusion, if you are considering a pair of Louboutins and they have been on your wish list for quite some time, I would just say get them. Be sensible, obviously, with your finances and making sure that you have enough for the other non-negotiables and basics in your life. But I personally think there is nothing quite like a pair of Louboutins. Least of all, the latest new addition to my collection, which I cannot wait to go out and enjoy more. That is everything that I wanted to talk about in today's video. I do hope you enjoyed the unboxing, the collection, and everything else in between. Let me know which one was your favorite pair, and if you own Louboutins, if you want them, what's your general thoughts about the brand? That being said, I will leave this video right here. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.